Let's pray. Mighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the office of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you, God, with your abundant favor, servants whom you please to call to the performance of us in this republic. Let your blessings send upon us here assembled, and that we treat and consider all matters that should come under our deliberation, in so just a faithful manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to enhance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of the county, and of those who sit at our church. During the quorum bell for the first five. Well, Kindly take us through the order of the day.
The third assembly, fifth session, order paper number 429 of today. Order paper number 431 of today, Wednesday, 10th June 2026 at 2:30 p.m. Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Statement time. Next order.
Commencement of business. Order number 8, motion that this House adopts the report of lands, housing, fiscal planning, and urban development on consideration of the City of Kisumu Charter by the Honorable Ratib Boyton.
Ratib Boyton.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move a motion on the report of the Committee of Lands, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development on the City of Kisumu Charter. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, aware that pursuant to Article 176 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, read together with Section 8 and 14 of County Government Acts 2012 and the standing orders of Kisumu County Assembly, the Committee on Lands, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development is specifically mandated to examine matters relating to land, physical planning, housing, urban development, and all matters ancillary thereto, including the governance of urban areas and cities within Kisumu County. Recognizing that the City of Kisumu Charter is the foundational legal instrument through which the identity, governance, architecture, powers, functions, accountability framework of the City of Kisumu are defined and given constitutional and statutory expression, that its grant formalizes and operationalizes the city status conferred upon Kisumu by operation of Section 60 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act number 13 of 2011, upon the commencement of that act in 2011. Noting that the charter was developed by the county government of Kisumu through the Kisumu City Board, was approved by the County Assembly and the County Executive Committee, and was committed to the committee by the House for scrutiny in accordance with applicable standing orders, that the committee conducted a thorough examination of the full text of the charter, the applicable constitutional and statutory framework, and comparative material from other Kenya urban governance instruments, and that the committee also conducted public participation hearing across 5 sub-counties forming the city area, and which community members, residents, associations, civil society organizations, professional bodies, persons with disability, youth representative, and other stakeholders presented their views. Concerned that the course of its examination, the committee identified several material gaps in the charter requiring amendments before formal grant, including the absence of express provision on ICT infrastructure, instrumental management, and climate resilience, building regulations, and affordable housing among the city enumerated functions. The failure to expressly entrench the two-third gender principle in the board appointment, the absence of term limit for board members, insufficient frequency of board sitting, the absence of mandatory timelines for bylaw processing, a residential qualification for the city manager that risks restricting the talent pool, the absence of a fiscal responsibility clause, mandatory financial reporting requirement, and audit tabling obligations, no code of conduct provision for city personnel, the complete absence of any disability inclusion or accessibility provision, notwithstanding the obligation of Article 54 of the Constitution, and the absence of public participation requirement in the charter amendment procedure. Satisfied that the city of Kisumu charter is a well-researched, substantive, and constitutionally grounded governance instrument that demonstrates serious engagement with the Urban Areas Act, the Constitution, and the border frame of Kenya public law, and that subject to the incorporation of the amendments recommended by this committee, the charter will constitute a sound and effective foundational governance instrument for the city of Kisumu. The subject matter for consideration during the committee's deliberation is summarized as follows. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, 1, to examine the constitutional and statutory basis, structure, and content of the draft City of Kisumu Charter against the requirements of the Urban Areas and Cities Act number 13 of 2011, the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the County Government Act 2012, the Public Finance Management Act of 2012, and all other applicable legislation. Number 2, to assess the adequacy of the Charter's governance architect, including the composition, powers, and accountability mechanism of the board, the office of the city manager, the bylaw making framework, and the financial management provision. And 3, to gather the view of the residents of city of Kisumu on the charter through public participation hearing conducted across all 5 sub-counties forming the city area, and to incorporate the outcomes of that participation in the committee's finding and recommendation. And lastly, 4, to recommend concrete implementable amendments to the charter to ensure that it is constitutionally and statutorily compliant, practically effective, and genuinely responsive to the needs and rights of the resident of Kisumu. Mr. Speaker, there's a raft of recommendation by the committee. And allow me to take members through. Upon careful analysis of the charter document and all evidence gathered across the committee's sittings and public participation hearing, the committee recommends as follows. 1. On the charter generally, the committee recommends that the House approves the City of Kisumu Charter for transmission to the governor for its signature and formal grant, subject to the incorporation of the amendments and strengthening measures set out in the recommendation below, and that the county government of Kisumu be directed to ensure that the charter is amended accordingly before formal grant. That the county government of Kisumu, within 6 months of the charter taking effect, develop and present to the county assembly a comprehensive implementation framework for the charter, setting out the timelines and responsible officers for each of the governance structures established in the charter. 2, that is on the legal and regulatory framework. What the committee recommends is that the county government of Kisumu is directed to formally petition the national government through cabinet secretary responsible for urban areas and cities to urgently promulgate regulation under the Urban Areas and Cities Act, prescribing the form and content of a city charter so as to provide a more certain legislative foundation for this and future city charters in Kenya. 3rd, that is on the boundaries and incorporation, the committee recommendation is that the county government is directed to amend the charter as follows. Clause 121 to be amended to include an express provision that in the event of any review, alteration, or reorganization of ward boundaries by the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission, the boundaries of the city shall be adjusted accordingly with notification of the Cabinet Secretary responsible for urban areas, so as to prevent any details in the definition of city territorial extent. And 2, a new subclause be inserted under clause 1.1 specifying the physical address of the city's principal offices for purposes of service of legal process. And on powers, objects, and functions, the committee recommends that the county government is directed to amend clause 131 of the charter to expressly include among the city enumerated functions therefore, 1, the promotion and provision of information and communication technology infrastructure within the city. 2, environmental protection and management, including flood risk management, stormwater control, and the promotion of climate resilience, having regard to the city's location on the shores of Lake Victoria and its vulnerability to environmental hazard. And 3, regulation of building and construction within the city, including the issuance of building permits and enforcement of physical planning and development control structures. And lastly, the promotion of affordable housing within the city in coordination with the county government and National Housing Agency. That the county government is further directed to insert a new clause in part 1 of the charter immediately following clause 131, expressly requiring the city to ensure that all city services, facilities, infrastructure, and public participation process are accessible to persons with disability in accordance with Article 54 of the Constitution and the Persons with Disability Act of 2003. On the board of the city, this is what the committee recommends: that the county government is directed to amend the charter as follows. Clause 235 be strengthened to expressly provide that not more than 2/3 of the members of the board of the city shall be of the same gender in compliance with Article 27(8) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and that the governor shall be bound by this requirement in making appointments to the board. 2. Clause 236 be amended to provide expressly that a member of the board of the city shall not serve for more than 2 terms in total, so as to promote renewal of board membership and prevent entrenchment. And C, clause 213(1) be amended to provide for ordinary sittings of the board at least once in every 2 months rather than once every 3 months, so as to ensure more effective oversight of the city administration, service delivery, and financial management. And D, the recommendation D in clause 253B be revised to read: a distinguished career in management at the middle level or above in either the private or public sector, so as to avoid the inadvertent exclusion of senior management and executive level professionals from eligibility for the chairpersonship of the board. And clause 217 be amended expressly require that the board shall convene citizen fora at not less than twice per year. Citizen fora shall be held at ward level in addition to any city-wide forums. The proceedings and outcomes of the citizen fora shall be documented, published on the city's official website within 21 days and maintained in publicity accessible register, and a report on the status of implementation of the city then fora recommendation shall be tabled before the board at each ordinary sitting. And F, a new provision be inserted in part 2 of the charter specifying the procedure for the submission and determination of public petition to the board, including minimal number of signatures required for a petition to be considered and the board's obligation upon receipt of a valid petition. On legislative authority and bylaws, the committee recommends that the county government is directed to amend clause 3(4) of the charter to specify that the county attorney shall provide a written advisory opinion on any proposed bylaw within 30 days of receipt of the submission from the board, and that where no such opinion is provided within 30 days, the board may proceed to submit the proposed bylaw to the county executive committee for consideration without the advisory opinion, and specify that the county assembly shall consider and determine any bylaw submitted to it within 60 days of its submission, and that where the determination is made within 60 days, the bylaw shall be deemed approved, subject to any contrary resolution of the county assembly adopted within that period. On the city manager, this is what the committee recommends. That the county government is directed to amend the charter as follows. Clause 531 bracket E be revised to remove the requirement that the city manager must have worked and resided within Kisumu County for at least 5 years, and be replaced with a requirement that the city manager must demonstrate to satisfaction of the County Public Service Board a thorough familiarity with the socio-economic governance and development context of Kisumu County and the city of Kisumu. Again, on the manager, the committee recommends a new clause to be inserted in Part 5 of the Charter, requiring the city manager to submit quarterly performance report to the board, covering the implementation of the board decisions and resolution, the status of service delivery against targets, review collection performance against approved estimates, and the progress of capital projects within the city. Such reports shall be made publicly accessible on the city's official website within 14 days of their presentation board. And C, a new clause be inserted in Part 5, requiring that the city manager's remuneration, as determined by the County Public Service Board in consultation with the Salaries and Remuneration Commission and publicly disclosed in the city's annual financial report. Honorable Speaker, the committee also recommended matters pertaining to city finances, which is properly illustrated in the report, and also on the city personnel. There is also a recommendation on disability inclusion and public participation. And lastly, also the committee recommended on transparency and publication of information. Having taken members and Honorable Speaker through this recommendation, Honorable Speaker, the conclusions now is that the committee calls upon the County Assembly to adopt the findings and recommendation of this report in their entirety and to discharge its constitutional oversight mandate by ensuring that the county government incorporates the recommended amendments in the charter before its formal grant by His Excellency the Governor. The committee recommends the county government of Kisumu and the Kisumu City Board for producing a charter that is in its current form a well-structured and constitutionally grounded instrument. The committee is nonetheless of the firm view that the amendment recommended therein are not optional refinements, but constitutionally and operationally necessary improvement, and that a charter transmitted to the governor without these amendments will contain material legal gaps that risk undermining the effectiveness and accountability of the city's governance architecture. The City of Kisumu Charter, once strengthened in accordance with the recommendation of the committee and granted by His Excellency the Governor, will be legal cornerstone upon which the governance of this great city is built. This assembly has a historic opportunity and a constitutional recommendation to ensure that the cornerstone is well and truly laid. Accordingly, I now beg to move this report, that the House adopt this report of the Committee of Lands, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development on the consideration of the City of Kisumu Charter that I've just presented. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, this charter was presented. And Honorable Speaker, I have taken members through the recommendation, one by one. I know they've read it because this report was posted on our wall at an opportune time for members to go through. But as mandated by the committee, I have taken them through this recommendation, upon which I believe this House is going to adopt, so that the recommendations that are in this report should be worked on by the city before its transmission to the governor for adoption, so that the city will be anchored in or on a cornerstone which is truly laid constitutionally and within the governance of this great city. Thereby, Honorable Speaker, I now want to invite honorable members, Honorable Tom Nyauke, to second this report. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I want to give a lot of thanks to the committee, in fact, including myself, for the greater work that we took quite a lot of time to go through. Mr. Speaker, this instrument we are talking about here really involved a lot of constitutional issues. And I want to appreciate both the executive and the team that went through it. The committee, as committee, we went around, gathered public views on this particular charter. And I believe that what has been read by my able chair today should be something that we need to appreciate as the whole House. Mr. Speaker, there is only maybe one point that I would need also members to know, and that is very brief. If you look at item number 13, which says the charter sets out 5 core governance pillars. And this is something that the few issues that we need to realize in this. And the pillars are simply the board of the city as the governing body, the city manager as the administrative head, legislative authority exercised through bylaws, financial management governed by the Public Finance Management Act, and the rights and obligations of city personnel and property. Mr. Speaker, during the interrogation with this document, we did go through all these issues, and there were some other important issues that might have been left from the Urban and Cities Act. If you go to item number 20, I believe, number 21, that is where we observed, Mr. Speaker, that there are certain issues in the charter which identified absence of prescribed regulation under the Urban and Cities Act as a primary structural gap in the national legal framework for city governance. The coexistence of multiple application statutes. And Mr. Speaker, this is an area that where we needed to think about insertion of the time limit, for example, like the city manager, so that a city manager don't have to work or being a city manager in a lifetime, Mr. Speaker. There are certain also other things that we have recommended for the executive to do some amendments, and I'm certainly sure after those few amendments that we have identified, once they are done, Mr. Speaker, I think we shall be good to go with this very important charter, which is going to help also us run effectively our city. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to second.
Honorable members, and now that the motion adoption of the report of the Lands, Housing, Physical Planning and Urban Development a committee on the concern of the City of Kisumu Charter have been moved, seconded. I want now propose a question, and I propose that that motion is open for debate. Joachim Okech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion by my chair, Honorable Boyton, on the consideration of the City of Kisumu Charter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Kisumu Charter is a timely document, which I believe from where I stand is overdue. And I think the executive and both the assembly will agree with me that Kisumu County will have had a charter long time ago. And Mr. Speaker, just like you had the chair read, you know, in most cases, a charter is considered a very ceremonial document. And I have seen several institutions, Mr. Speaker, where people simply celebrate probably an achievement of a charter, just like a ceremony, and it ends there, Mr. Speaker. But again, just like it's included in this report, Mr. Speaker, a charter is in itself a legal document, and that has been expressly stated here. And again, a charter gives a city, like Kisumu, which is the third largest city in the country, it gives it an identity. And again, Mr. Speaker, it does not stop on only giving identity to the city, but again, it gives a lot of governance structure, which has been a very major issue in itself in Kisumu. And you've heard how detailed it is, Mr. Speaker, where the chair has outlined the different recommendations with regards to the board when it comes to hiring of a city manager, Mr. Speaker. It's even stated here clearly that city itself, it's not an individual, but an office that has structured and a board itself, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, within the charter here, Mr. Speaker, we'll have the powers of the board clearly outlined, the powers of the city manager, the functions, and it goes further also to outline clearly the accountability framework of the city of Kisumu, Mr. Speaker. And that is why I want to urge the honorable members of this house that let us support this because it is very timely. And again, Mr. Speaker, what I like also about this charter is that it has element of public participation in a lot of decision making. And you've had the chair read areas and the number of times the city board will be required to do a lot of citizen forums. And I think that will be a very, very, very good thing for the membership of this county. Again, Mr. Speaker, it does not stop there. The charter again outlines how important revenue collection is to Kisumu County. And it, as much as some of our members here might probably not be happy with the city of Kisumu collecting revenue, but again, if you look at the charter we are approving here today, it is still talking of a very important function of revenue. And again, it outlines the importance of City of Kisumu having a revenue function, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I want to call upon this House to support this, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I think it is a very timely document, and let us improve the livelihood and probably leave a legacy to the people of Kisumu by having a charter, the City of Kisumu. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Sethuku.
Honorable Speaker, going by the mood of the House, which is very, very ripe for the mover to reply. Thank you.
I have not seen any member on his feet, so I'll call the mover to reply. Honorable Boyton Ratib.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this was a report that was very explicitly expressed by the chair, and I am happy because members have noted the importance of this charter and have given a nod to approve it the way it is with the recommendations that the committee has noted. The importance of this charter, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, protect me from what I said. The importance of this charter, Honorable Speaker, is not only for the county assembly or the county government, but it is for the people of Kisumu County. We all understand, and therefore, Honorable Speaker, I reply.
Honorable members, the motion adoption of the report of the Lands Committee, the Lands, Housing, Physical Planning and Urban Development Committee on consideration of the City of Kisumu Charter have been moved, second debated, reply made. I want to now put a question. And I put as many of the opinion that this motion, adoption of the report of the Lands, Housing, Physical Planning, Urban Development Committee on consideration of the City of Kisumu Charter be adopted, say aye. As many of the contrary opinions say nay, the ayes have it. This motion, adoption of the report of Lands, Housing, Physical Planning and Urban Development Committee report on the consideration of the City of Kisumu Charter have been adopted today, Wednesday, the 10th of June, 2026 at 15:18 hours. And I want to direct that the recommendations of the said report be communicated to the relevant departments for action, and that the Committee on Implementation to follow up the same. Next order.
Order number 9, first reading of the Kisumu County Education and Social Protection Fund Bill 2026, County Assembly Bills number 2 of 2026 by the Honorable Sethuku.
Honorable Sethuku.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I request that the Education Protection Fund Bill, County Assembly Bills number 2, be read for the first time.
Ms. Clerk.
The Kisumu County Education and Social Protection Fund Bill 2026 A bill for an act of the County Assembly of Kisumu to repeal the Kisumu County Education Funds Act number 8 of 2014 and the Kisumu County Education Fund Amendment Act number 6 of 2016 to establish the Kisumu County Education and Social Protection Fund and for connected purposes. Memorandum of objects and reasons for the bill. Statement of the objects and reasons for the bill. The principal object of this bill is to consolidate, modernize, and constitutionally ground the legal framework governing the provision of educational financial assistance to vulnerable students resident in Kisumu County by repealing the Kisumu County Education Fund Act 2014 and the Kisumu County Education Funds Amendment Act 2016 and enacting a comprehensive statute in their place. Part 1, under preliminary, introduces the Act and defines key terms such as resident and establishes guiding constitutional principles including equity, transparency, accountability, and the right to education. It also ensures compliance with requirements on legislative authority, public participation, and intergovernmental relations. Part 2, on fund establishment and financing, formally establishes the fund, guarantees a minimum allocation of 2% of the county budget, and sets strict time rules on financial management, including expenditure limits, administrative cost caps, and investment of surplus funds. Part 3, institution framework, creates the fund committee, ward committees, and the fund administrator with clear roles, qualifications, and accountability measures to strengthen governance and address past weaknesses. Part 4, eligibility and awards, defines criteria for bursary and scholarship and provides a transparent application, vetting, approval, and disbursement process, including the right to receive, reasons for decisions. And Part 5, on obligations and sanctions. Part 6, on reporting and accountability. Part 7, on appeals, and Part 8, on data protection. And lastly, Part 9, on general provisions. Statement on delegation of legislative powers. The bill delegates legislative powers to the County Executive Committee member responsible for education through Section 45 to make regulation for the better carrying into effect of its provisions. Delegation is circumscribed by specific subject matter limitations set out in Section 50, subsection 2, and is subject to mandatory public participation requirement under Section 7 and the oversight of the County Assembly and the Statutory Instruments Act 2013. The delegation does not delegate the core legislative policy choices made by the County Assembly in this Act and is consistent with the standards of permissible legislative delegation established by the High Court. Statement on limitation of fundamental rights. The bill does not limit any fundamental rights or freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution. To the contrary, it advances the rights to education, equality, fair administrative action, and privacy. Any collection and processing of personal data under the Act is done in compliance with the Data Protection Act 2019 as limited to what is necessary for the administration of the fund. Statement on financial implications. This bill is a money bill within the meaning of Article 114 of the Constitution. Its enactment shall necessitate the appropriation of funds from the County Revenue Fund for the purposes of the fund established herein, and in particular the mandatory allocation of not less than 2% of the county government annual budget to the fund. The enactment of this bill is consistent with the county government's development plans and budget framework, and the bill now stands read for the first time.
Honorable members, the Kisumu County Education and Social Protection Fund Bill 2026 have been read for the first time, and by virtue of that, it's properly tabled before the House as per our standing order number 122. We are not going to propose or to put a question. And I read, every bill shall be read the first time without motion made, a question put. But 123, honorable members, that a bill having been read the first time shall stand committed to a relevant sectoral committee without question put. And the sectoral committee, which a bill is committed, shall facilitate public participation and shall take into account the views and the recommendations of the public when the committee makes its report to the County Assembly. The chairperson of the sectoral committee to which the bill is committed, or a member designated for the purpose by committee, shall present the committee's report to the County Assembly within 21 days of such committal upon presentation, or if the committee's report is not presented when it becomes due, the bill shall be ordered to be read second time on such a day as the County Assembly Business Committee shall, in consultation with the member of the committee in charge of the bill, appoint. I therefore want to direct that this bill is committed to the Committee of Education, and that the Committee of Education shall work on it as per our standing orders. Next order.
Order number 10, first reading of the Kisumu County Gender and Equality Bill 2026, County Assembly Bills number 3 of 2026 by the Honorable Nancy Matara.
Yes, Honorable Nancy.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. The first reading of Kisumu County Gender Bill Equity. The first reading of the Kisumu County Gender and Equality Bill 2026, Bill number 03 of 2026. May I request be read for the first time?
The Kisumu County Gender and Equity Bill 2026, a bill for an act of the County Assembly of Kisumu to give effect to Article 27, Sub-Article 3 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Section 34, Paragraph E and F of the County Governments Act 2012 to provide for the management and administration of gender affairs in Kisumu County and for connected purposes. Memorandum of objects and reasons for the bill. The principal object of the Kisumu County Gender and Equity Bill 2026 is to give effect to Article 27, Sub-Article 3 of the Constitution of Kenya and Section 34, Paragraph E and F of the County Governments Act 2012. This bill seeks to provide a comprehensive legal framework for the management and administration of gender affairs within Kisumu County, aiming to promote the progressive realization of gender equality and institutionalize gender-responsive governance. Since the absence of the structured gender management mechanism has hindered the equitable distribution of resources and opportunities, this act seeks to address issues such as lack of uniform norms and standards of gender-responsive budgeting, inadequate integration of gender concerns in the design and implementation of county policies, disparities in representation and participation within the county public service and decision-making bodies, and the insufficient mechanisms for monitoring and evaluating gender mainstream performance. And the bill has the following Part 1, that is Class 1 to 5, Part 2, Clauses 6 to 25, Part 3, Clauses 26 to 33, and Part 4, Clauses 34 to 40. Statement on the delegation of legislative powers and limitation of fundamental rights and freedoms. This bill delegates legislative powers to the CC member responsible for gender affairs to make regulations necessary for the effective implementation of gender-based empowerment and mainstreaming. The bill does not limit any fundamental rights and freedoms, rather it seeks to enhance the enjoyment of the right to equality and freedom from discrimination. Statement that this bill is a money bill within the meaning of Article 114 of the Constitution. This bill is not a money bill. However, the enactment of this bill may result in additional expenditure for public funds, and the bill is now read for the first time.
Honorable members, by the same provisions of the standing orders that I mentioned earlier, the Kisumu County Gender and Equity Bill 2026 is read for the first time, and I hereby direct that it be committed to the Committee of Culture, Sports, Gender and Youth Affairs, and that the committee deals with it as per our standing orders. Next order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable members. There's no any other business to be transacted in the order paper.
Honorable members, you can be upstanding. There being no any other business in the order paper, the House stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, the 11th of June, 2026 at 2:30 p.m.